Lowe's knows that free is just better. That's why MyLowe's Rewards is free to join. As a member, you earn points towards MyLowe's money on eligible purchases, get exclusive free gifts, and earn free shipping at Silver Key status, all on top of weekly member-only deals. Don't wait. Join MyLowe's Rewards for free today and start saving more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Stop hitting snooze on new tech. Upgrade the whole team at Lenovo.com. Unlock AI experiences with the ThinkPad X1 Carbon. Powered by Intel Core Ultra processors. So you can work, create, and boost productivity all on one device. Win the tech search for business PCs at Lenovo.com.
Lenovo.
Where'd you get those shoes? Easy. They're from DSW. Because DSW has the exact right shoes for whatever you're into right now. You know, like the sneakers that make office hours feel like happy hour. The boots that turn grocery aisles into runways. And all the styles that show off the many sides of you, from daydreamer to multitasker and everything in between. Because you do it all in really great shoes. Find a shoe for every you at your DSW store or DSW.com.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Previously on Obscurum, Invasion of the Drones.
You think they're aliens? I think the funnest one is the fact that we're missing a nuclear warhead. I like that one.
Well, they were quiet, but they had definite two, spotlights coming out of the bottom of them. It was just going over the lake. The geese were just going crazy. To me, it seemed like they were looking for something.
She was a lot more concerned, in case they're trying to find people and find kids to nab, like sex traffickers have gone extremely high tech.
I'm counting at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It actually rotated, looking as if it was peering in each window of our home.
Hello?
Where are you?
I'm out by the county line. I'm walking around looking at a few of these abandoned barns.
You need to be really careful out there. You know, what I told you when I talked to my students in Binkelman, especially the boys, they said those places can be inhabited by people that are making meth, all sorts of stuff. So you really need to be aware of your surroundings.
Well, I'm going to go down by the river, and so...
Can you text me, though? Even if you can't call me, please, I need to know where you are.
Stories are like puzzles. Nothing makes sense until most of the pieces are in place, when you really start to see the big picture. With the unknown aircraft, I was hoping to quickly find which pieces were missing. While trying to verify that the FBI had given the order to shoot these objects down, I dialed in on what I knew. I'd learned that swarms of these mysterious aircraft varied in size and were being seen nightly over many counties. Most sightings started at dusk and ended around 10 p.m.
It just makes me really uneasy because I feel like somebody's watching us all the time. That's just super unnerving.
I'd been able to chat with a few residents, and at this point, people were wanting more information from local authorities. The following excerpt is from Yuma County Sheriff Todd Combs' Facebook post and was read by a voice actor.
I will tell you right up front, I do not have a lot of answers for you at this time. I wish I did, but I don't. I think we're all feeling a little bit vulnerable due to the intrusion of our privacy that we enjoy in our rural community, but I don't have a solution or know of one right now. All I can say is don't live your life in the fear of the unknown. I will keep you informed as soon as I hear anything.
Chapter 3, Above the Prairie.
The big white one is hovering low to the ground. If I had to guess, 200 to 300 feet in the air. There are these red and green flashes moving around it too.
The switch was flipped on my vacation. That calm feeling you get from being at home turned into pure adrenaline. With each hour, I found myself getting sucked into this odd series of events that seemed more like a sci-fi movie than real life. I wasn't sure what my next step should be, or if I should even be the one looking for next steps, as I'd soon be traveling back to Los Angeles. I started Googling, searching through a ton of information about airplanes, drones, and UFO sightings. I wanted to know if anything similar to these craft had been seen in the area before.
What were your grandparents' names and what were they like?
Man's name was Milt Clayton Moreland, and Clara Moreland was his wife. I do have a picture of him sitting on the eave of a house with a team of horses, moving a house across the prairie. So he was a can-do-it man.
I discovered an old article about unexplained flying objects published in a local newspaper from 1950. Apparently, the report was given by Milt and Clara Moreland of Imperial, Nebraska. They'd passed away, but I was able to talk with their grandson, Terry McNair, about their story.
What do you remember them telling you about what they experienced that day in 1950?
Well, I remember mostly my grandmother talking about it, and she would get quite excited, and she would think that these things just came buzzing along, and they weren't large, they were small, like saucer basketball shaped, and they were just kind of flittering along all together, a whole bunch of them, and they came in from one way and swooped out a different way.
So she's just, sitting at home one day, it's daylight, and these saucer-type basketball-looking objects just kind of appear.
They just kind of appear. They heard a noise, and they went out to investigate it. That's what they found.
If Terry hadn't used the word saucer, his description sounded eerily similar to the drone behavior I'd heard about.
Any ideas of what you think they saw?
Flying saucers. I've thought that my whole life.
Had you heard any other stories of flying saucers in that area before?
Not really. I would remember my mother talking about lights in the prairie when she was a kid, that they would see lights in different areas where they knew there was no population. They were just lights.
What do you mean by lights?
They were more along the land rather than high in the sky. They were close to the earth, but off in the distance. She just said that they were unexplained.
So she just saw weird lights in the prairie.
Mm-hmm.
As I looked further into the history of the area, I came across more interesting facts. In the 1960s, a number of locals saw weird objects in the sky. One of those people was Barb Stanley.
I was 10 years old, and I looked out on the horizon. There was a hill, and as I was sitting there, I saw some type of craft that I think had landed. Then it slowly rose, and I thought it was going to just keep going higher, but it just disappeared. Just 1 minute it was there and 1 minute it wasn't. It was bigger than a car, but didn't look like a car. Back in my 10-year-old mind, I was just like, wow, I've never seen anything like that before. That's not what the Jetsons were like.
Yeah.
It seemed to be the real deal.
Barb experienced this sighting on the family farm which, oddly enough, was close to where these so-called drones were first spotted.
A week later, there was a newspaper article that said there was a lady in Imperial that had basically seen the same thing. I took it out to my husband and said, read this. So that was kind of an affirmation that I wasn't just making up a story.
You said you were sitting on the porch looking out, what's going through your mind when you see this?
I'd say astonishment, because I had the feeling that I was alone. Like my parents were gone, and so who would help me? I thought, oh wow, if this is serious and they mean harm, I'm basically by myself.
That had to be such a surreal feeling, especially at a young age without anyone around. When I continued looking into these sightings, I came across an article about one of the first UFO crashes in modern history. It was said to have taken place in southwest Nebraska, near Binkelman, in the late 1800s. As the story goes, in early June of 1884, a rare phenomenon occurred.
A few cowboys were out at a roundup when they were startled by a loud noise and saw what looked like a blazing body falling to the earth. The next day, a brand inspector found machinery scattered throughout the pasture after the object had cooled, including a wheel fragment with a milled rim. The object was reported to be 50 to 60 feet long, cylindrical, and about 10 or 12 feet in diameter.
Because that story was from so long ago, I took it with a grain of salt. I obviously had no way to check the facts with the locals who'd experienced it. Whether people were seeing drones, flying saucers, or something else, I began to notice a common theme. Most of these sightings occurred near isolated farmhouses, outside the city limits. I wasn't sure how this info could play into what was happening, but it proved one thing. Unexplained aircraft weren't out of the ordinary for this part of the country.
How to have fun, anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com. VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on what your kids are spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely. And parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/iHeart.
Hey, everybody. So when you get asked, what is Odoo, what comes to mind? Well, I'll tell you, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a suite of business management software that some people say is like fertilizer because of the way it promotes growth. But, some people also say that Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable.
Oh, but then again, you could look at Odoo in terms of how its individual software programs are a lot like building blocks. Whatever your business needs, manufacturing, accounting, HR programs, you can build a custom software suite that's perfect for your company. So what is Odoo? Well, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. Yeah, that's it.
Which means that Odoo is exactly what every business needs. Learn more and sign up now at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
From the executive producers of Hell and Gone comes a new podcast investigating the serial murders orchestrated by South African cult leader Cecilia Stein.
She conditioned them to be monsters.
She was telling people the Bible says you must go and kill, but actually she was taking revenge.
We are all so horrified by the idea that a mother would sully her daughter in this way.
Listen to Queen Havoc and her murder cult on the iHeartRadio app, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Chapter 4. Surrounded. As more residents saw drone-like objects flying, I began contacting police stations in neighboring counties. Despite my persistence, it was tough to get anyone to speak with me. There was one person I knew I could lean on outside of law enforcement. His name is Bill Bowerly, and he's a family friend. Bill also just happens to be an aviation expert. He was an Air Force pilot, Delta Airlines pilot, and former member of the local airport authority.
How are you?
Good. I'm actually working on another aviation project.
Bill's an outdoorsman. When I walked into his house, there were fish and animal heads up on the walls.
So how have you been? Good?
100% busy. This has been my busiest year flying.
After we caught up, Bill dove into his background.
I got my license in 76 on a program that was pre-military. It was part of my scholarship. I had to go to the military. It takes a year to get through Air Force pilot training. 78, I graduated. They plowed me back as an instructor because I did too well in the course. Mm-hmm. And then into Germany for 3 years. And then from that, I went to a test squadron and flew in a test squadron. Left the military on a Friday, started on Monday with Delta. And I've been flying for Delta every month since.
It was Bill's military history that I thought might shine some light on what was going on.
So they've been doing drones in the military for a really long time.
Really, that first Gulf War was where they really brought them in. Mm-hmm. So you didn't have to risk a man's life, and you could provide reconnaissance. And that's where it got started, and the intel gathering, and the sensors they can put on it. The miniaturization of all of that just kept improving, so they make them smaller and smaller. Well, they kept making them a little bit bigger and giving them more range. So that's where they came up with these 24 or 36-hour drones that could just loiter.
I'd heard the term drone tossed around a lot. I pulled up an official definition. A drone is technically any unmanned aircraft that can fly remotely or autonomously. In my opinion, that description left a lot of room for interpretation. Was the word drone just the new and more casual term for UFO? I'd now seen these drones, as people were calling them, 3 nights in a row. There were larger orb-like objects illuminating the fields, and smaller ones surrounding them. Each night, they were flying in groups.
We were testing the ability to be able to tie remotely piloted vehicles to a mothership. And that was in the late 80s. So we know that you can have a mothership fly and tether wirelessly other ones off of it.
Bill then gave me more than I bargained for, a first-person report on what he thought may be flying in the sky.
These are most likely the ones that they'll put a gas engine on them with a small fuel cell, and that engine then powers electric that powers all the props. We've got military drones that can stay up 36 hours. Mm-hmm. If you just use the premise that they are a 6-hour drone and they can travel at 60 miles an hour, it would be very conceivable that you could launch these from 100 miles away, go do your work, and then fly that 100 miles home.
Imagine a 6-foot vehicle with wings. Which job takes 36 hours and covers hundreds of miles?
Somebody's making money doing this, otherwise it wouldn't exist.
That's what I keep saying, follow the money trail.
Follow the money trail. That's the first step. It comes down to what confidence do you have in believing what your government tells you.
By the time I left Bill's, I'd received a few messages. Apparently, when people hear you're back home from LA and asking questions about a weird phenomenon they've seen too, you get a lot of tips for who to visit with.
The girl you were talking about, that's your daughter-in-law, or that's your daughter, or?
That's my daughter.
It is your daughter. Okay.
Yes.
When she was in her car and those 3 drones kind of appeared, surrounding her car, how close would she estimate that those were to her actual vehicle as it was going down the road?
She said they were just like a little above, like the telephone poles. So, I mean, she could see them clearly, and there was like 3 of them, and they were just kind of following her.
A lady named Trisha Michael told me that she'd received a strange phone call late one evening when a few of the unknown aircraft flew above her daughter's vehicle.
When she called, it was her phone number, but it said Palestinian territories as far as our area. But I didn't answer it. So when I called her back, she did not answer. So I called the Palestinian number back just to kind of see what it was and see if I would get anybody or not. And I had just got a male voice recording saying that the number was no longer available. When she got home and there was nothing above her, and it rang in just fine. It rang in normal.
So when she called you, it said Palestinian territories on your caller ID where you'd normally see her name?
Correct. Yeah, normally it would say like local, like if it's a local call, it would say Sterling, Colorado. Where it would say where it's from, it had listed Palestinian territories.
What did your daughter describe, feeling like when those drones were following her?
I don't think that one bothered her nearly as much as later in that evening. She had gotten home and she was the only one here, and there were 3 that were parked on our road, and they parked there for about 30 minutes or so at least.
When you say parked, you mean that they were hovering in the air and hovering?
Yeah, they just hovered and don't move. So that made her a lot more uncomfortable than just driving underneath it.
Could these aircraft be interfering with cell towers? It sure seemed like that was a possibility. I kept searching for new leads. Let's just say things got even more peculiar.
I just don't get why they're so interested suddenly in this area. He said that we have some military drones out here that are using scramblers that are trying to break up the signals.
There is a river bottom down through here, and they seem to work the waterway.
The drones that are here have been described as black. We have been told that the military drones are actually white.
Their grid pattern was definitely around Frenchman Creek.
Hey, everybody. So when you get asked, what is Odoo, what comes to mind? Well, I'll tell you, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a suite of business management software that some people say is like fertilizer because of the way it promotes growth. But, some people also say that Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable.
Ooh. But then again, you could look at Odoo in terms of how its individual software programs are a lot like building blocks. Whatever your business needs, manufacturing, accounting, HR programs, you can build a custom software suite that's perfect for your company. So what is Odoo? Well, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. Yeah, that's it.
Which means that Odoo is exactly what every business needs. Learn more and sign up now at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Hi, I'm Daniel Tosh, host of a new podcast called Tosh Show, brought to you by iHeart Podcasts. I'll be interviewing people that I find interesting, so not celebrities, and certainly not comedians. We'll be covering topics like religion, travel, sports, gambling, but mostly it will be about being a working mother. If you're looking for a podcast that will educate and inspire, or one that will really make you think, this isn't the one for you. Listen to Tosh Show on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Wasn't that delicious? So good.
Your bill, ladies?
I got it. No, I got it. Seriously, I insist. I insisted first. Oh, don't be silly. You don't be silly.
People with the Wells Fargo Active Cash credit card prefer to pay because they earn unlimited 2% cash back on purchases.
Okay, rock, paper, scissors for it. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. No!
The Wells Fargo Active Cash credit card. Visit wellsfargo.com/activecash. Terms apply.
Stop hitting snooze on new tech. Upgrade the whole team at Lenovo.com. Unlock AI experiences with the ThinkPad X1 Carbon. Powered by Intel Core Ultra processors. So you can work, create, and boost productivity all on one device. Win the tech search for business PCs at Lenovo.com.
Lenovo. God, I love sweet and cream. I used to go here growing up, and I'd always get the same order: 2 hamburgers, ketchup only, French fry, and Dr. Pepper.
It was early evening, and I'd just ordered dinner at a drive-thru in Imperial when I received information about another encounter. This one seemed different. The lady mentioned in the message didn't live too far east of town. I quickly finished up my meal and headed in her direction.
I think this is the turn. I'm gonna go see this girl right now named Marcy Kelly.
There was a pen close by with a few of Marcy's animals. Her goat named Nanny kept wanting to get in on the interview.
Nanny, don't eat my clothes. You are a good goat, though. That's a microphone.
I could tell that Marcy was a small-town gal at heart. Before we began our conversation, she walked me through her house, past some family photos, and onto the back patio.
No, you're fine.
I don't remember what our question was.
No, I was just going to say, is it typical for farmers to use drones?
Yes. Even through my husband's work, they have a drone that they check the pivots with. And I think that a lot of other people do too. I think that Southwest Power uses them probably to check the power lines from what I've understood. And they're not nearly this big. Yeah.
What do you make of this whole thing? How do you feel?
I feel uneasy about it just because there's so many and they've been here for so long and we don't have an answer of who's doing it. My husband and I both think that they shut off their lights and they can fly lower then and they're undetected, like later at night when they're trying to go back to their check-in point or whatever they're trying to do, because then you can hear them and there's no planes in the area and it's just a different kind of a noise.
What would lead you to believe that they shut off their lights?
Because when they're high up, you can't hear them. And so it's just a different kind of a noise that we hear. So it's just kind of a noise that you're like, oh, they're lower and you can hear them, kind of like after a jet goes by and then you hear it later on or something like that.
Marcy had seen most of the aircraft near her property, and she noticed something else. Wild animals weren't acting as they normally would during the winter.
Sunday, and it was like the day after the blizzard, like we lost power and stuff Saturday night from the snow. Mm-hmm. My dogs caught a snake. And then a few days before that, my friend's daughter had got a turtle and I'd seen a frog hopping and I'm like, what? So that was weird to me that all of those things are coming out of the ground. Kind of worried that way.
From your perspective, what do the formations look like, and are there different sizes of the drones from what you've seen?
I think that there's different sizes. I think that there's like a docking station one that's a little bit bigger that either they get energy from it or charge or reboot or exchange information to. And that one seems pretty, just like it hovers. It doesn't really move a lot. It kind of just stays stable. And then the other ones, I've seen them go fast. I've seen them go slow. I've seen them shut off their lights and then turn them back on later. And I think that they range in sizes. I don't think that they'd be over 10 foot at the biggest. Mm-hmm. I mean, probably mostly 5 to 8 foot.
Could you make out that it was, in fact, a drone?
Sounds better than a UFO, identified flying object, basically, yeah.
Just when I thought I'd heard every theory, Marcy dropped this one.
I have heard, and I haven't seen, I seen a picture of like a green substance that's been dropped. I'm like, oh, what if it's something like dangerous?
When I got back inside the pickup, I played that audio over and over.
And I seen a picture of like a green substance that's been dropped.
Marcy didn't reveal who showed her the picture or where they lived. The skeptic in me kept thinking, aircraft dropping things from the sky at night? Why do these accounts keep getting even more bizarre? Just when I'd begin to wrap my mind around certain parts of this story, I was told another credible, if unbelievable, detail. Coming up on Obscurum, Invasion of the Drones.
Really, we have to absolutely verify what is happening in Colorado.
Someone has very sophisticated ways to override the FAA rules that are in here.
I could see it glowing off the tin of our shop. As soon as I opened the garage door, there was a white, like infrared camera light.
We want to hear from you. If you have any information surrounding the events detailed in this podcast or other obscure stories in rural America we should look into, please visit our website at obscurumseries.com and send us an email. To connect with us on social media, you can follow at obscurum_series and at Gabe Lenners on all social platforms. Obscurum is produced by Imagine and Lenners Entertainment for iHeartMedia. This series is written, hosted, and produced by me, Gabe Lenners. It's executive produced by Ron Howard, Brian Grazer, Carl Welker, Nathan Clokey, Nikki Etour, and me. Additional production by Jacob Plew. Music and sound effects courtesy of Epidemic Sound. Brand management and digital design by Labyrinth Brand Co. Video editing by Alex Semikopenko. This project was mixed and mastered by Jacob Plew. Special thanks to Dan Bodansky, Josh Hiller, Keaton Stortz, Bryson Keyes, Ailey Birchfield, David Wasserman, Katrina Norvell, and my family. Obscurum, Invasion of the Drones is available on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Follow now.
Do you own a business that's ready to thrive? It's time to let Intuit QuickBooks take things like unpaid invoices and tracking expenses off your plate so you can take things to the next level. Intuit QuickBooks is an all-in-one business platform that can help with those day-to-day tasks like invoicing and expenses. Manage and grow your business all in one place. Intuit QuickBooks, your way to money. Money movement services are provided by Intuit Payments, Inc., licensed as a money transmitter by the New York State Department of Financial Services.
Are you still quoting 30-year-old movies? Have you said cool beans in the past 90 days? Do you think Discover isn't widely accepted? If this sounds like you, you're stuck in the past. Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. And every time you make a purchase with your card, you automatically earn cash back. Welcome to the now. It pays to Discover. Learn more at discover.com/creditcard, based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Kroger brand products have the great taste you'll celebrate. That's why over 40 million people choose Kroger brand products, making them a true crowd pleaser. And with quality guaranteed, you'll love your choice or get your money back. Score Kroger brand products with savings you can cheer for and great taste you can't resist. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
When it comes to playtime, never let your squad down. Unlock elite gaming tech at Lenovo.com. Push your gameplay beyond performance with 13th Gen Intel Core processors. Upgrade to smooth, high-quality streaming with Intel Wi-Fi 6E. And maximize game performance with enhanced overclocking. Win the tech search and head to Lenovo.com.
Lenovo.